The stars stretched endlessly in front of the ship called Phoenix. Inside, the crew moved with purpose and quiet hope. Commander Leo stood on the bridge, his eyes fixed on the vast darkness beyond the windows. He felt a deep weight in his heart. For thousands of years, humans had traveled far from Earth. Now, after 30,000 years, the dream of returning home had finally become real. Earth was gone, reduced to ashes. The planet where humanity was born and grew was destroyed in a terrible war long before Leo was born. No one alive now had seen the blue skies and green forests of the past. But stories were passed from one generation to the next. Stories of a beautiful world filled with life and hope. Stories of a home lost and a family broken. The Phoenix was the last ship carrying the descendants of Earth. It was built for this very purpose. To find Earth again. To understand what had happened. To make things right. Leo turned away from the window. He walked through the ship, greeting his crew. Mira, the engineer, smiled and nodded. Her hands were busy checking the engine systems. She was one of the smartest people Leo knew. She believed in this mission with all her heart. Commander, she said, all systems are ready. We can begin the journey soon. Leo nodded. Good work, Mira. We will need every part of this ship to carry us home. In the living quarters, the young navigator named Sam studied the star charts. His fingers traced the lines that marked the path to the solar system. It was a long way, but the signal they found gave them hope. The signal was faint and old, but it was real. It came from the place they called Earth. Sam looked up as Leo entered. Commander, the charts show some dangers ahead. Asteroid fields, and strange energy storms. Leo smiled. We have faced dangers before. We will face them again. That is what makes us strong. Across the ship, in the small garden room, plants grew carefully under special lights. These plants were the last living green things carried from Earth. Mira said they were important. They reminded the crew of their roots, of the Earth they hoped to find again. Leo entered the garden and stood quietly. He touched a leaf gently. We will come back, little ones, he said softly. We will bring life back to Earth. That night, Leo stood alone on the observation deck. The stars seemed close, almost within reach. He thought about the stories his grandmother told him as a child, about Earth's blue oceans, tall trees, and warm sun, about the people who once lived there, who loved their home with all their hearts. But those days were gone. Destroyed by war with an alien race, called the Zorth. The Zorth wanted to take Earth for themselves. They fought hard and won. The survivors of humanity fled, carrying only memories and hope. Leo felt the anger and sadness inside him, but he also felt something else, a fire, a desire to make things right, to find Earth, to bring justice to those who destroyed it. The next morning, the crew gathered in the main hall. Leo stood before them. We are more than survivors. He said, we are the future. Our mission is clear. We will find Earth. We will learn the truth, and we will rise again. The crew cheered softly. Their faces were full of hope and courage. They knew the road ahead would be hard, but they were ready. In the following days, the Phoenix prepared to leave the safe zones of known space. The ship's shields were tested, weapons checked, supplies loaded. Every person played their part. Even the youngest crew members learned about Earth's history and their mission. Mira came to Leo with a small device in her hand. Commander, I found something in the old records, a message left by Earth's last defenders. It may help us understand what happened. Leo took the device carefully. Good work. We will study it on the way. As the Phoenix moved away from the star it called home, the crew watched the stars change. The ship moved faster than ever before. It was a journey through darkness, but also through hope. Leo stood at the helm, thinking of the future. We will find Earth, he whispered, and when we do, we will bring light back to the ashes. The crew prepared for the long journey. Each day brought new challenges and new discoveries. But they never forgot why they traveled, to honor Earth, to honor humanity. The Phoenix was more than a ship. It was a promise that humanity's story was not over. As the stars flew past, the people on board dreamed of home. The Phoenix sailed through the endless darkness of space. The crew watched as distant stars twinkled like tiny fires in the night every day. They moved closer to the solar system, their lost home. The journey was long and full of danger, but the hope of seeing Earth again gave them strength. Commander Leo spent many hours in the control room. He studied maps and sensor readings. The path was not easy. Between them and Earth were many threats, large asteroid fields that could tear their ship apart, cosmic storms that could scramble their instruments, strange creatures that lived in the cold void of space. One morning, the alarms rang suddenly. The ship shook. Leo rushed to the bridge. "Report," he said, his voice calm but firm. Mira, the engineer, pointed to the screen. "Asteroid field ahead. We must navigate carefully." The ship moved slowly, weaving between giant rocks. The crew held their breath. The smallest mistake could mean disaster. Leo's hands gripped the controls. "Steady. We have trained for this." After tense minutes, the ship passed the field safely. The crew sighed in relief. Sam, the young navigator, smiled. "Good work, everyone." Days passed, and the Phoenix faced more challenges. Cosmic storms hit, lighting the ship with strange colors. The engines trembled under the stress. Mira and her team worked day and night to keep everything running. The crew grew closer, sharing stories and hopes. One evening, Leo visited the training room. There, Tana, a tough but kind woman, practiced with a weapon. She was one of the soldiers trained to protect the crew. Leo watched quietly. "You are ready for what lies ahead," he said. Tana nodded. "We will need every skill. The enemy is strong." Leo thought of the stories he had heard. The Zorth were cruel and powerful. They had destroyed Earth thousands of years ago. But now, humanity was returning, stronger and wiser. As the ship moved forward, Sam discovered something on the scanners. "Commander, I found ruins on a small planet." Leo looked at the screen. "Ruins? Human?" Sam nodded. "Yes, old human. Colonies destroyed long ago." Curious, Leo ordered the ship to change course. They flew closer to the planet. The ruins were old and broken, buildings shattered, machines silent. The signs of a lost world. Mira studied the ruins carefully. This was once a home, like Earth, but smaller. Something terrible happened here too. The crew felt sadness. They were not the first humans to suffer in space, but they also found hope. The ruins held old data crystals. Mira worked to unlock their secrets. Inside the data, they found messages from long ago. People telling their stories, warning about the Zorth, describing battles and losses, but also dreams of peace. Leo gathered the crew. These messages remind us why we fight, not just for Earth, but for all humans who suffered. The journey continued. As the Phoenix moved closer to the solar system, the crew prepared for what might come next. Leo knew the Zorth were waiting. They had to be ready. One night, Mira came to Leo with a small device. "I decoded part of the message from Earth's last defenders." Leo took the device and listened. The voice was old but clear. It spoke of courage and warning. It named the Zorth as the enemy who destroyed Earth. It told of humans taken prisoner and worlds lost. Leo's face grew serious. "We must find these prisoners. We must stop the Zorth." The crew trained harder. Tana led exercises to improve their fighting skills. Mira improved the ship's defenses. Sam worked on new routes to avoid danger. The Phoenix was more than a ship now. It was a moving fortress of hope. Each crew member felt the weight of history and the chance to change the future. As the ship passed a ring of glowing space dust, Leo looked at the stars again. "Soon," he said softly, "we will reach home." The crew nodded. They were ready for the next step of their journey. The path was long, but the fire inside them burned bright. The Phoenix entered the outskirts of the solar system. The bright light of the sun was distant and cold. For the crew, the feeling was mixed hope and fear wrapped together. After 30,000 years, they were finally close to Earth. But what would they find? Commander Leo stood on the bridge, watching the screens carefully. The planet they had waited for appeared before them, a small globe covered in gray dust. Earth's blue oceans and green forests were gone. The surface was dry and lifeless. Craters and scars marked the land like old wounds. The crew was silent. Mira's hand trembled as she pointed at the screen. Earth is dead. It looks like a planet covered in ashes. Leo's heart tightened. We must look for survivors, or clues. There may still be hope. Sam scanned the area. There are pieces of satellites and space stations in orbit. Many are broken or burned. The ship moved closer. Leo ordered a full scan for any signs of life or energy. Suddenly, the sensors picked up a faint signal from the moon. It was old but steady. The crew held their breath. "Commander," Sam said, "the signal is a message. Recorded long ago." Leo nodded. "Play the message." The voice that filled the ship was calm, but filled with sadness. It belonged to a woman named Arya, one of Earth's last defenders. Her words told a story of courage and loss. She spoke of the war with the Zorth, of the great battles fought to protect Earth, of sacrifices made by millions. She warned that the Zorth were ruthless and wanted to destroy humanity completely. She told of prisoners taken and families torn apart. The message ended with a plea for future generations to remember, to fight for what was lost, to never give up. Tana clenched her fists. They fought bravely. "We will honor them." Leo turned to the crew. "This message is our guide. The Zorth destroyed Earth, but they did not destroy us. We must find those taken prisoner. We must bring justice." The Phoenix began scanning the moon's surface. There were ruins of old bases and machines. Many were broken and silent, but signs of recent activity were found. Something was alive there. Leo led a small team in a shuttle to the moon. The surface was harsh and gray. The wind blew dust that stung their faces. They walked carefully among the ruins. Suddenly, they heard a soft sound, a whisper carried on the wind. Tana signaled the others to be ready. From behind a broken wall, a figure stepped out. She was human, but different. Her eyes were sharp and full of pain. Her name was Tana. "No," Leo said quietly. "Not you." The woman looked at him. "I am Tana. I was taken prisoner by the Zorth. I escaped. I waited for help." Leo felt hope rise inside him. "You survived." Tana nodded. "I have seen their fortress, their strength. They want to end us, but I will fight." The team returned to the Phoenix with Tana. She told them more about the Zorth. Their power was greater than anyone had known. Their fortress was hidden in a star system near Earth. Leo knew the path ahead was dangerous, but the crew was ready. They had returned to the ashes of Earth to bring light and hope again. The Phoenix left the moon behind and set course for the enemy's stronghold. The crew felt the weight of their mission. They were not just explorers or survivors. They were the last hope for humanity. Leo stood again on the bridge. "We will face the darkness," he said. "We will rise from the ashes, for Earth, for all of us." The stars shone brightly as the Phoenix moved forward into the unknown. The Phoenix moved steadily through space, closing in on the star system where the Zorth fortress was hidden. The crew grew quiet, knowing the danger ahead was unlike anything they had faced before. Commander Leo stood on the bridge, watching the stars and feeling the weight of the mission pressing down on him. Tana, the escaped prisoner from Earth's moon, stood beside him. She had shared many stories about the Zorth's cruelty and power. She knew the fortress was well guarded by strange machines and fierce warriors. The humans would need courage and skill to succeed. "Commander," Mira said as she approached, "our scans show the fortress ahead. It is massive, surrounded by a field of energy shields and many warships." Leo nodded. "We must find a way inside without being destroyed." Sam, the young navigator, studied the map. "There is a small gap in the shield. It is barely big enough for a small team." Leo made a quick decision. "I will lead the team. We will go in quietly, find the prisoners, and learn what we can." Tana agreed immediately. "I know their ways. I will help." The team prepared quickly. Leo chose Mira to come as the engineer, and Sam to assist with navigation and communication. The shuttle was small and fast, perfect for sneaking through the gap. Inside the shuttle, the tension was high. Each member checked their equipment. The engines hummed softly as they approached the fortress. Outside, the fortress looked like a giant black star. Sharp edges and glowing lights covered its surface. The energy shield shimmered, protecting it from any attack. Leo's hands tightened on the controls. Hold steady. We enter now. The shuttle slipped through the gap in the shield. For a moment, all was silent. Then alarms sounded inside the fortress. The Zorth knew something was wrong. Inside, the team moved quickly through dark corridors. The walls were cold metal, and strange symbols glowed faintly. They used Tana's knowledge to avoid patrols and traps. Suddenly, they heard voices. Humans. The team hurried forward and found a large room filled with people in energy cells. Men, women, and even children, weak but alive. Leo's eyes filled with tears. We will free you. Mira began working on the controls. Sparks flew as she bypassed the locks. One by one, the cells opened. Tana stepped forward and spoke softly. You are safe now. The freed humans looked at the team with hope and disbelief. Many had lost everything, but seeing their rescuers gave them new strength. Suddenly, a loud alarm rang. The Zorth had found them. We must move fast, Leo said. Take the prisoners to the shuttle. The team helped the freed humans as they hurried through the fortress. The Zorth warriors appeared, blocking their path. The battle was fierce but quick. Tana fought bravely, protecting the team. Sem sent a message to the Phoenix. We need backup. The fortress is attacking. Back on the ship, Leo's second-in-command prepared the ship's weapons. We will support you, Commander. As the team reached the shuttle, the Zorth closed in. The shuttle's engines roared as it lifted off. The Phoenix fired its weapons, breaking the enemy ship's formation. The shuttle landed safely on the Phoenix. The prisoners were brought inside and given food and care. Tana sat quietly, watching the faces of those she helped save. Leo approached her. You did well. We learned much. Today, Tana nodded. The Zorth are strong, but they have fear now. We showed them humanity will fight back. Mira held a small data device she found in the fortress. This contains plans and information about their technology. Leo smiled. This will help. U.S. prepare. The war is not over. But today, we took the first step to freedom. The crew felt a new energy. The prisoners told stories of lost worlds and hidden hope. The Phoenix was no longer just a ship. It was a beacon for all humans still trapped. Leo looked to the stars. We will rise from the ashes. We will bring back the light. The journey continued, stronger than before. The humans were ready to fight for their future. The Phoenix hummed with energy as it left the shadow of the Zorth fortress behind. The air inside the ship was thick with hope and determination. The prisoners they had rescued were slowly recovering. Each one told stories of courage and survival, strengthening the crew's resolve. Commander Leo paced the bridge, planning the next moves carefully. Tana stood nearby, speaking with the freed humans. Her eyes shone with fierce pride. She was no longer just a prisoner. She was a leader. She trained the new fighters in the art of battle, teaching them how to fight with courage and smart tactics. The memory of Earth's warriors lived through her. We cannot let the Zorth win, she told them. They think we are weak. We will show them the power of humanity. Leo agreed. We need allies. We cannot fight alone. He sent messages to scattered human colonies across the stars. The replies came slowly at first, then faster. Many were ready to join the fight. The galaxy's whispers began to grow louder. Humans had returned, and they would not be defeated. Meanwhile, Mira worked tirelessly in the ship's lab. The data taken from the Zorth fortress held secrets. She studied their technology, learning how to protect the Phoenix better and to fight smarter. The Zorth weapons were strong, but with knowledge, the humans could find weaknesses. Sam mapped new routes through space, avoiding dangerous zones and finding safer paths. He shared stories with younger crew members, teaching them how to navigate the stars with skill. One day, Leo called a meeting. We will strike a Zorth mining station. He said, it is their source of fuel and supplies. If we can disrupt it, we weaken their power. The plan was risky. The mining station was guarded by many ships and defense systems, but the crew was ready. Tana led a group of fighters. They practiced together, moving as one. Each person knew their role. The soldiers were no longer afraid. They were prepared to fight for humanity's future. When the day came, the Phoenix approached the mining station. The large structure floated in space, glowing with energy and activity. The Zorth were surprised to see humans again. The battle was fierce. The Phoenix fired its weapons while Tana's fighters boarded the station. They fought with bravery and strength. The humans moved through the station's corridors, disabling machines and freeing more prisoners. Leo watched the fight from the bridge. The ship shook as enemy fire hit the shields, but the crew held firm. After hours of struggle, the mining station's systems began to fail. The Zorth retreated, and the humans claimed victory. The crew cheered quietly. It was a small win, but a meaningful one. Tana returned to the ship, tired but smiling. "We showed them we are not weak," she said. Leo nodded. "This is only the beginning. We will grow stronger." The news of the victory spread quickly among human colonies. More ships joined the cause, forming a growing resistance. The galaxy saw humans not as victims, but as fighters rising from ashes. But Leo knew the Zorth were powerful. They would not give up easily. The real battle was yet to come. At night, Leo stood alone on the observation deck. The stars shone brightly. He thought about Earth and the future. "We will protect our home," he whispered. "We will bring peace and light." The Phoenix and its crew sailed onward, ready for whatever awaited. The Phoenix moved through the silent dark of space, leading a fleet of allied human ships. The resistance had grown into a true fighting force. Ships from far colonies had joined them, each carrying people ready to face the Zorth. "Commander." Leo stood on the bridge, staring at the map of the enemy's stronghold. This would be the final battle. Tana stood beside him, calm but focused. "The Zorth will fight with everything they have," she said. Leo nodded. "So will we." Mira was at her station, checking the weapons systems again and again. Sem studied the routes for attack. Every crew member was prepared for what was coming. The fleet traveled for days, avoiding enemy scouts and keeping their formation tight. Finally, they reached the star system where the main Zorth fortress stood. It was even larger than the one they had infiltrated before, a massive structure that seemed to blot out the light around it. Energy shields covered the fortress, and hundreds of warships patrolled its perimeter. The sight made the crew's hearts race, but no one backed down. Leo opened the channel to the fleet. "This is for Earth. This is for every world they have taken. We fight as one." The human fleet surged forward. The battle began with a storm of light as ships exchanged fire. Explosions lit up the void. The Phoenix moved with skill, dodging enemy fire and striking back with precision. Tana led a strike team in smaller ships, weaving through the battle to target the fortress's weak points. Mira worked to overload the Zorth shields using data from their earlier mission. Sem relayed constant updates to the fleet, guiding them through dangerous zones. The fight was fierce. Enemy ships pressed hard, but the humans pushed back with courage and unity. Then Mira's voice came through the comms. "Commander, their shield generators are exposed. This is our chance." Leo gave the order, and several human ships, including the Phoenix, focused their fire on the generators. Slowly, the shields flickered and failed. The fortress was vulnerable. "This is it," Leo said. "Tana, take your team inside." Tana's group entered the fortress through a breach in its outer walls. Inside, the corridors shook from the constant bombardment outside. They fought their way through waves of Zorth soldiers, moving toward the central command room. Leo stayed on the Phoenix, coordinating the attack. His voice was steady, but his heart pounded. He knew the fight inside would decide everything. In the command room, Tana faced the Zorth leader. The alien was tall and armored, with eyes that burned with cold hatred. "You should have stayed in the dark," the leader hissed. Tana raised her weapon. "We belong in the light." The battle was swift but intense. Tana's team fought with precision, working together to bring down the leader's guards. Finally, Tana struck the leader with a clean blow, ending the fight. Outside, the Phoenix saw the fortress's weapons go silent. Mira smiled. They've done it. Leo gave the signal. All ships, target the core. The human fleet unleashed their full power. The fortress shook violently, breaking apart in bursts of fire and debris. The remaining Zorth ships scattered, retreating into the darkness. When the fighting stopped, the humans cheered. The battle was won. Tana's team returned to the Phoenix, carrying freed prisoners from deep inside the fortress. Many were from Earth's last generation before its fall. Their eyes shone with gratitude and hope. Leo looked around at his crew and the rescued people. Today, we stood together. We showed that humanity will never be broken. The fleet began its journey back, not in silence, but in the proud hum of victory. The Zorth were not gone forever, but their grip on the galaxy had been broken. The ashes of Earth would soon see light again. The human fleet sailed through the stars with pride. For the first time in thousands of years, they had defeated the Zorth in open battle. The fortress was gone, its weapons turned to dust. The enemy had fled into the darkness, their power broken. On the bridge of the Phoenix, Commander Leo looked out at the stars ahead. They were bright tonight, like they were guiding him forward. Around him, the crew worked with quiet determination, tending to the freed prisoners and repairing the damage from the fight. Mira checked the systems one last time before turning to Leo. Engines are stable. We can make the journey home. Leo nodded. Then we begin. The word home meant more now than ever. Earth was still a dead world, its surface covered in dust and ash, but it was still theirs. And now, with the technology they had taken from the Zorth, it could live again. Tana entered the bridge, her armor still marked from the final battle. She stood beside Leo, looking at the stars. We won. But the work is only beginning. Leo smiled faintly. Yes, we've taken back our right to exist. Now we take back our home. The Phoenix led the fleet toward the solar system. Days passed in quiet travel. The rescued humans began to share their knowledge of old Earth customs and lost technology. Some were scientists and builders. Others were historians, carrying memories of a world that most of the crew had only heard about in stories. When the blue-white light of the sun came into view, everyone gathered at the viewing decks. For many, it was the first time they had seen it. The light was weak compared to the old days, but it was still beautiful. Finally, Earth appeared a silent, scarred sphere, but still strong in its own way. The fleet settled into orbit, and the crew of the Phoenix began their descent. As the shuttle touched down on the cracked surface, Leo stepped out first. The air was thin and dry, but it carried a faint scent of the soil beneath the dust. He bent down, scooping a handful into his palm. It felt warm from the sunlight. This is where it began, he said quietly. The others stepped out, planting flags and setting up equipment. The engineers unloaded machines from the Zorth fortress devices that could heal land and clean poisoned air. The scientists worked together, planning how to bring water back to the rivers and life back to the soil. Tana gathered a small group near the ruins of an ancient city. We will build here, she said. Not just a base, but a home, a place where every human knows they belong. Day by day, the work began. Towers rose slowly from the ground, built from a mix of human design and Zorth technology. Greenhouses filled with plants from the ship's gardens began to glow in the pale sunlight. The first drops of clean water ran down new channels, a promise of rivers to come. At night, the crew gathered around small fires, sharing food and stories. Some spoke of the old Earth, of forests and oceans. Others spoke of the battles they had fought together. Every story ended the same way, with the belief that humanity had a future again. Leo walked alone one evening to the edge of the building. From there, he could see the first signs of life returning, patches of green where the soil had been treated. Birds from the ship's aviary flying above. He thought of the battles, the dangers, the faces of those they had lost. Tana joined him. You're thinking about what comes next, she said. Leo nodded. The Zorth are wounded, but not gone. They may return, then we'll be ready. Tana said firmly, we're not the same people who ran from them long ago. We're stronger now. Leo looked at her and smiled. Yes, stronger and united. Weeks passed, and Earth slowly began to breathe again. Colonies from other systems sent help ships full of workers, materials, and volunteers. They brought seeds from distant worlds, animals from safe planets, and children who laughed as they played on Earth's soil for the first time in thousands of years. One morning, a new flag was raised in the heart of the rebuilt city. It was a simple design, Earth's blue and green colors with a bright star in the center. It stood for more than just the planet. It stood for all humans, no matter where in the galaxy they had been scattered. On the day of the flag's raising, Leo addressed the people. His voice was steady, carrying across the crowd and through the comms to every ship in orbit. Today, he said, we stand on the world of our ancestors. We have faced darkness, and we have risen. This planet was reduced to ashes, but we are proof that nothing can truly destroy humanity. We rebuild not just for ourselves, but for the generations to come. Earth will live again, and so will our hope. The crowd cheered, and even in the thin air, the sound carried far. That night, under a sky lit by stars, Leo sat with Tana, Mira, and Sam by one of the fires. They talked about the long journey that had brought them here, and the journey still. Ahead, Sam looked up at the stars. Do you think the Zorth will try again? Leo's eyes were steady. If they do, they'll find us ready. They'll find Earth ready. Mira added softly, and they'll find that we are not afraid. The fire crackled. The wind carried the scent of the first flowers blooming in the new gardens. It was a small thing, but to Leo, it felt like a promise. The Phoenix, now docked at a new spaceport, stood ready for the next mission. But for now, its crew rested, proud of what they had achieved. Humanity had returned to its birthplace not as wanderers or refugees, but as builders, protectors, and a people who refused to vanish. From the ashes, they had made a new dawn.